The Equalizer 3. This is my spoiler review. I have a review up on my blog, soundedbettermyhead.com. There's no spoilers in there that I could think of. It's not there's a ton of spoilers in this movie anyways, but you want to check that out first. I might give away some details here that could ruin the movie. You don't want to be spoiled at all. I end up giving this a 3 out of 5. It was decent. It definitely had its flaws. The plot was pretty generic. Like it's on par for what the Equalizer films have done so far. That he's got innocent people he's got to protect from a bunch of bad guys. But it's the same. The guy goes to some town. It's a little small town, and the bad guys are roughing everybody up. So the good guys got to save everybody. Like it's been done a bazillion times, and they don't do it really that differently here. They kind of got away from what I think the original Equalizer show was about, and I think where the first movie was heading, where it's like, you know what, I got these skills, people need help, let me know and I'll help you. And they kind of got away from that. It's more like, now he just kind of stumbles on the people that need help, and he's like, oh, well, I'm going to give him a hand. They don't know that I gave him a hand. Matter of fact, there are even reasons, you don't even know to the end of the film why he was on this mission in the first place. That basically sounds like he kind of overheard on an Uber ride, some dude got his pension hacked and he was broke. And he went after the cyber hackers and he ended up getting the money back for the guy. So that's core Equalizer stuff, but the fact that you don't know that until the end of the film, it's kind of weird. Like you kind of lose impact, and then you're just meeting this couple at the end that are all sad, and it's like, oh, we got this money, now we're saved. It's like, could have been like a big emotional moment, but it doesn't quite hit as well as it could have because you just met them right then and there. And they also kind of gloss over the fact that at the end of this mission he gets shot, and he looks like he tries to blow his brain out, but his brain's out, but there's no ammo left in the gun, and it really never comes up again. It's like, all right, I'm shot, I guess I'm just gonna kill myself. Like he was trying to get this money back for this dude, he had it. Like I don't know if he had a way of letting people know this money goes to this guy. Like I don't know who would have found him in his knapsack if his brains are blowing out of his skull. So it was kind of a weird moment, and they never came back to it. There was never anything like, well, I was ready to die because of this. Like it was weird that it never came back up again. It was just kind of a big moment, and it was so quick. It's like, wait, did he just try to shoot himself? And then it never really comes up. And he's just an interesting character as it is, because there's a point where they ask him if he's a good guy or a bad guy, and he says he doesn't know, because he's kind of sadistic in a way. Like he enjoys what he does. Like he kind of tortures people a bit. Like he's got the first bad guy down and out. He shoots him in the ass with the shotgun, just for the hell of it, before he kills him. And then when he's fighting the younger brother in the Sicilian town, or wherever they're at, he's getting a kick out of dodging this guy's knife, slashes, and then he, stabs the guy to death and just watches him die. Like he's got a real darkness to him. I mean, he does it for the right reason. He's a good dude, I guess, but he gets pleasure out of what he does. It'd almost be more interesting if he used to be a bad guy and he was kind of turning into a good guy, but that's neither here nor there. But the movie, again, the plot was pretty generic. It just felt like it didn't really come together that great. Like the older brother being like the main crime boss never felt right. Like I felt like he should have been answering to somebody else. Like there was this big thing going around, like international drug trade and Syrian terrorists and all this stuff going on, and this guy didn't even look like he was that old enough to be running like this criminal empire. And he's like the main guy. Like I thought he was going to answer to someone like the real big bad would come down, and that's who you have to take out. But now the bad guys are just generic. They just did everything in their power to make them like assholes, and like the one poor cop got like his family stolen. He got the shit kicked out. He got part of his ear shot off. Like like I said, they just did what they could to make sure you absolutely hated these guys. So when they died, you felt good that they got massacred basically. And then the other end of it, a good chunk of the movie is just setting up how cool this town is. Everybody's great, and it's a great community. It's a place you want to live, and they got to be protected. So it's a pretty good stretch when that's all that happens. Is like these guys are assholes, and these guys are really good dudes, and Denzel's kind of in the middle. And they also just assume that you've seen the last movies. I don't think they even tell you his name. Like, he tells everyone that his name's Roberto, and his name's Robert. Like, they never say his last name. At the very end, you see his initials, and like you'd have to assume it's him if you don't know the character at this point, and like who the woman is in the photo at the end. Like, they kind of quickly show a flashback, but that's another thing I'll get into in a moment. But like I said, there's a good stretch of the movie where it's just setting up bad guys, assholes, good guys, need to be protected. And then we finally, get to him defending them. And there's a little bit of action in the beginning. There's nothing for a long time, really, until he killed, like, the 3 dudes, outside the restaurant. And it just doesn't feel like the finale's ready. It doesn't feel like it's time yet for him, like, this final showdown. It seems like it's coming. They're like, we're going to come to town and kill him. And he goes there first. But it just didn't feel like they were hitting the climax. It just felt like there should have been something more. And then he just, more or less, Jason Voorhees kills everybody, like, just comes out of nowhere and, takes people out like a ghost. And it was fine. I mean, that's par for his character. You really don't get to see him kill too many people. Like, there's a lot of, like, sniping and, like, real quick shots before, like, the camera cuts away. It's like, there's not as many scenes as I'd like to see of him just being an absolute badass in combat, like we've seen in previous movies. And then again, also in the beginning, we don't know the character very well. He doesn't really say too much. He just, he's an absolute badass. He's a ruthless killer, and it takes a long time before he kind of lets his guard down and starts to act a little bit more charming. And even then, at first, it seems almost like it's a front. Like, I got the upper hand. That's why I'm smiling. So again, I think it makes it harder for the audience to identify with his character that they don't know him from previous films. Luckily, Denzel has just so much charisma and just his acting chops. He's able to carry the movie, with just his raw talent, basically. And then they do introduce a female FBI agent that's helping him out. And it feels like it's going to be more to the story, and it's not. There's this little cat and mouse they kind of do. Like, she's not sure if she should trust him or not. They're kind of going back and forth. She doesn't know why he picked her, to be involved in this case. And she really doesn't, like, help that much then. She's just kind of there to, like, make a couple important, like, phone calls to get, like, the ball rolling. Like, it felt like there was going to be more to her story than there was. And then just the end, it turns out she was the daughter of his, friends from back when he was in, before he was retired, and everyone thought he was dead. So I thought that was kind of weird. And I thought there was going to be more with, like, the cop. Like, it looked like he was going to have a bigger role. Like, oh, maybe he's going to help, the cop's going to kind of help him crack this case. And then he just ends up getting bullied out of the situation. I'm kind of glad they didn't get into it. It seemed like they were setting up a love story with him and the waitress. And it didn't seem to really go that way, which is fine. I just thought it was good. I think it worked better him just having a friend. I don't think he needed, like, a tacked down love interest. I'm actually kind of shocked they didn't come after her, because it seemed like they were going to set her up as a love interest, and he had to save her, and it never came up. The only person that really got in any kind of major shit was the cop. And that's about it. And, like, one little nitpick, because they didn't really say anything, he's almost dead. They take him to this town, they patch him up. And I'm guessing he has some kind of, like, extra cash on him. Because right away he just starts going out to eat, and he's, like, buying clothes, and it's like, wait, does he have money on him? Like, never seen him pay anybody. I'm assuming he had cash on him. It just seemed kind of weird, because they didn't even say for a while that he even had that bag on him, like, and what was in the bag, and, like, what he took. Like, as far as I know, it was, like, drugs or something crazy that he took from the bad guys that he had to take back to somebody. I just said, it was a little weird, and I said, I don't think everything tied together as well as you thought. Like, the cyber criminal at the beginning didn't seem like it really matched up with the mafia, and they were supposed to kind of match up with these terrorists, and none of it really connected the way it should have. It's like, oh, these terrorists got this money, so they blew up a bus station or a train station, but none of it really meshed like it could have. It's almost like they tried too hard to make all these, like, separate things come back together and make it like a bigger incident than it was. I think that's about it. There's not a ton to say about this movie. I said it was fine. I said when there was action, it was really good. It's a good character. Like, he's kind of like a John Wick that's more likely to. He can actually intimidate his way out of a situation instead of having to fight. And where John Wick's there's a lot of guys that are almost as equal. Like, nobody's on par with Roberto. So it's like, this guy's like, hey, if he comes after you, you're done. So it's an interesting character, good acting on it, mediocre script. Movie, you could have probably trimmed it down a little bit. Too much time just trying to establish how bad the bad guys were and how saintly the good guys were. But like I said, that's about it. I I have the non-spoiler version of this review. I have some other reviews. I got comic strips. Those are all at soundofbedinmyhead.com. So if you want to check that out, that'd be pretty awesome. Other than that, thanks for watching.